Oh, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here taking a look at game number 2. Viva Genius is facing off against paiN Gaming. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by Draskell. And game number 1 was a beatdown. Super duper 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 beatdown. It didn't look pretty at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the draft kind of fell apart for paiN in the last couple of picks. Like the Wind Ranger had a solid lane, like we assumed that she would, and then it kind of just transitioned into doing nothing. I don't know. Maybe the BKB was the wrong choice. I thought about it some more. Maybe it should have just been like
10
the
seconds
Maelstrom into
remaining.
Blink, or heck, even just like a Javelin into Blink, just so some hero could go in.
5
Because a lot of the
seconds
time, what
remaining.
happened that game is Mandy would use Wind Run to engage, right? Like use it
Right.
to close the distance, and then you don't have it for escape. So then if Abed like balls in, gets the pull off and cancels out your wind run, then all of a sudden you're left with no
Dire
way of
team
getting
ban.
out. And they needed quick picks that game. They needed to be able to get the kill and get out, and they just didn't have the capability because the blink timings on their heroes were just they were too slow.
Right.
And then Ramses was able to stall out all their pushes, and we all saw kind of what happened after the fact. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Wind Ranger
Evil
pick, like the
geniuses,
idea was
time to pick.
okay. There wasn't a lot of catch, but the itemization and just the overall way that paiN played the game, it didn't feel like Wind Ranger was really
Dire
the hero that
team
they
pick.
needed. So we'll
Puck.
see how they prioritize their picks this time around. Puck actually going to be picked. Surprised that one of the North or South American teams let this hero through in the first phase, but here we are.
Yeah, and I can kind of understand the idea that paiN Gaming has. They're like, all right, IO is a huge problem. The Slark was a pretty big issue too, but to me, they didn't feel like the
10
preeminent big
seconds
issue that they were
remaining.
trying to deal with in the draft. It much more felt to me like the Venomancer, and now
5
giving
seconds
away this
remaining.
puck, it's a little bit scary. Um, we'll see what paiN's
Well,
answer to it
the
is. They had to have known that this was potentially coming.
so here's my thought on like the Veno versus the IO thing. Veno works in that specific game because of the way that the heroes have to start fights and they have to run in. And it also works because you know that in addition to being able to TP to a tier one, you're also going to have a reload +2, which means at any given point, EG can immediately field 4 heroes at a tower. Like it's not going to be that 5, 6, 7 second TP delay that you sometimes have when you're, power rangering to a T1 to try to defend. And sometimes it ends up backfiring because the hero is dead before you
Dire
get there.
team
Yeah.
pick.
EG could have just reacted instantly to any of the tier one pushes. And also with the boots of travel on Ramses, he was able to depush lanes himself. So it's more the combination of heroes. And then if you go one step deeper and think about what Veno actually accomplishes if there is no other hero on the map that, can play that freely and also be able to just attend every single fight,
Hmm.
you take out that combination, then all of a
10
sudden the Veno's
seconds
pointless
remaining.
because defending the tower doesn't matter if you can't actually bring heroes.
I guess that's fair.
So
5 seconds
yeah, and
remaining.
plus IO has more combinations. Slark is a harder hero to deal with in general. I mean, they double counterpicked in that game,
Yeah.
and it just didn't matter because they weren't playing that side of the map that Slark was on. So I agree with the whole thought process of the IO
Evil
and the Slark being the
geniuses,
main
time to
issue,
pick.
and then the Veno just being like a symptom of a bigger problem.
Yeah. That's fair. I can totally agree with that. And it makes sense why they take them out as well. And
Evil
we're seeing a very
geniuses,
different
time
draft
to
this time.
ban.
paiN Gaming having a lot of pressure put on them just with the timing, the reserve time that they're working with, down to a minute 25, and it's after the first pick puck. I'm wondering if that's one of those things where it maybe just slept through the draft, or they weren't. I mean, there's no. You have to know that the
Dire
puck was
team
coming, but
ban.
they respond with Tree Rubik, and now we have Tiny Puck. God, this is such a strong opening from EG. I feel like you get everything that you want, and I don't know, these two heroes from paiN. I want to see what they can do with them, because if we go just by like sort of how these heroes have been performing right now, Rubik has a 25% win rate with 12
10
games played.
seconds remaining.
And then you look at the other side, Puck, and it's like pretty high up there.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think we talked about this yesterday a little bit, the whole Rubik thing and having a really low win rate. It's about what your lineup can do to enable your hero.
Right.
You want some frontline
Evil
heroes, you want
geniuses,
stuff to be
time to
happening
ban.
in the fights, you want buttons to be cast, not necessarily on you. So there's a lot of things that I think that Rubik players would like to happen in games that oftentimes just don't. And some of it could just be that people haven't figured out, the best way to play the patch. And a lot of the games devolve into either complete chaos or a lot of passivity where both teams are content to just farm. And we also saw a lot of
10
that yesterday.
seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
Um, but it's I don't know. It's tricky for Rubik because his
Five
laning phase
seconds
isn't really
remaining.
that bad. Fade Bolt is a really strong utility, and then Tree and Protector is a really solid laner. So I'm seeing like an instant stun, some roots against Puck. It's not necessarily the worst thing to have.
Dire team
The
ban.
lift is obviously great because it's really hard to phase shift in time to stop the stun from coming in. But if they want to really deal with the Puck, they will need some sort of follow up, whether it be another silence or another stun, burst damage, whatever route they decide to take. But just based on bans, it seems to me like we could just be seeing it be Abed on the Puck because they did ban the TA, and
Right.
that's again one of the worst
10
matchups.
seconds remaining.
But yeah, I mean, so far, I don't think the opening is as
5
lopsided,
seconds remaining.
but I would still slightly favor EG with the tiny and the Puck.
Yeah, I guess that it's more just like these are the meta heroes I was expecting to see in this tournament by EG. Maybe this tree is a little bit of a revelation though, because I just looked through some of the Dota buffs recently, and it looks like it's making a
Dire
little bit of a
team pick.
comeback here. It's got picked a couple of times yesterday, most notably by Alliance when they're able to 2-0 VP. But now also a little bit earlier today got played by Team Secret, and it got played by IG. Both of those teams won their matchups. So maybe it's something that's starting to get spun around the old scrim circles. We'll see if
10
it makes a
seconds
comeback or not.
remaining.
I mean, he was very common, at least in pubs, not too
5
long ago.
seconds
They gave him the
remaining.
tree walking back on the Nature's Guys, and he just skyrocketed in popularity. Very good at killing couriers. Very annoying to try to chase down. He does a lot of damage. The vines and the leech seed aren't like necessarily the strongest spells, but in combination with tree walking and just your insanely high like base damage, it all adds up.
Hmm.
So we'll see if he can get a favorable lane. However, paiN want to try to set this up. They do sort of still lack catch. That's the thing about opening Puck too, right? Is as soon as you pick Puck, your catch is just solved for the
Yeah.
entire game. Like that's one of the things that not a lot of heroes can say, and it's not even really dependent on blink because your cast range is still fairly long. You can coil from a relatively far distance. It just it fixes so many issues. It's wave clear. It has a good laning phase against like 99% of the hero pool. It can go even as far as
Evil
BKB
geniuses
piercing
turn
disable if you need the
ugly.
Aghanims, which we've obviously seen in the past. Like the hero just kind of does a lot of stuff. The only thing he doesn't do is like heavy right click DPS, which you can still sort of itemize towards if the game really calls for it. And
Hmm.
paiN, they are going to be setting the Beastmaster here,
Dire
so
team pick.
interesting.
All right.
Chen.
I like it. Ooh.
And then the Chen response.
So this was something that I feel like we saw fairly often a while ago, was like teams opening with two supports, and then neither of them deals particularly well with like Chen creeps, and then you just pick Chen. Um I don't know. That's something that I remember from like a couple years ago in
10
Dota,
seconds
uh,
remaining.
where to me now this feels like it's almost a battle of who comes
5
online first.
seconds
Where like
remaining.
paiN Gaming want to get behind this Beastmaster, push down towers, have Tree out there scouting a little bit for him. But now EG kind of can bring the pain themselves a little bit.
Yeah, Chen creeps are a definite
Evil
nuisance. You can also
geniuses
do like
turn
cheeky
pick.
stuff like steal boars and whatnot. So it's I don't know if I would necessarily say I super heavily favor EG's draft so far, but you can definitely see what they're going for. They can play fast. They have the tiny, they have the puck.
Dire
Obviously, we talked about
team
him kind of
ban.
solving the catch issue, so that makes Chen better. I think that Chen lineups really feel good when you know for sure that your heroes can catch someone out and start an engagement. That feels nice. Either that or being able to just walk up to a tower and a group of heroes. Those are the two situations where I feel like Chen thrives, and they've already kind of checked one of those boxes with their opening two picks. So it does make that
10
pick in
seconds
particular
remaining.
feel nice. The SF, it is a
5 seconds
a
remaining.
matchup against Puck. If it does end up being the Puck mid that Shadow Fiend feels very comfy with, he starts getting some CS,
Evil
and
geniuses
then the
turn to
Puck can't
ban.
actually like deny him. In some matchups, Puck can trade freely, and you have a really good amount of base damage, so you just kind of eventually win the matchup, spam out the wave, stuff like that. But again, Shadow Fiend, once you start losing out in the CS, he just hits too hard.
Hmm.
Like he'll start denying everything unless you're using your nukes to kill the waves and stuff, and he can even push the wave just as
10
fast, if not
seconds
faster than you
remaining.
can. So the hero definitely has some positives in this
5
game.
seconds
Chen
remaining.
creeps later on also completely useless against SF. You kind of have to burst him to kill him. So I kind of like the idea of the pick, and then EG going for the Arteezy PL, a classic. Not really any heroes on the side of paiN really deal with him directly as of yet. So this is most likely going to be a safe lane ban, some hero that they think is going to play well into the Phantom Lancer. I mean, it could just be another Bloodseeker from HFN. I don't know what other heroes he really plays because Slark's not in the pool. If they do take away the Bloodseeker, then yeah, I'm not sure really what else he plays.
I mean, he's done a lot of different things. Is Life Stealer still in the pool? I mean, it's not like wonderful against PL,
Evil
right? But it could
geniuses
work.
turn to pick
Ah, the
their
Ursa ban.
team
Okay,
pick.
that's why they banned Ursa. All right, they
Oh,
just wanted the Timber. They could go Monkey here on paiN. They actually have Tree, which is one of the best combinations with Monkey King because you get the overgrowth into the Monkey Pit.
oh,
It's a naturally good matchup against Timber. They could do safe lane OD if they really wanted to. It's good against PL and Timber. It's not necessarily good against Chen, but
10 seconds
I
remaining.
think that they actually have enough wave clear between the SF, Beast, and Rubik that it might
5
be okay to
seconds
run some like
remaining.
unconventional hero that's just gonna for sure be okay against Timber. The alternative is try to run a tri lane against the PL, and they are just
Choose
gonna
your
pick the
hero.
Life Stealer anyway, so
yeah.
they don't care really too much about the harass. I'm curious to see if paiN will dodge this Timber because I feel like none of their heroes actually lane against it at all.
hmm
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Because last game, I thought that they wanted to put the Legion against the Veno, but they didn't care about that. And now this game, I feel like Beastmaster doesn't win the lane against Timber, but maybe they feel like Lifestealer is sustainable enough with the Feast to be able to walk to the Timber lane. I guess we'll find out how they see it.
We might see some weird, like running around the map trying to drag the creep wave back behind the tower or other action too. Like, depending upon how this goes, it's obviously a little bit tougher if you're trying to do that against the opponent's off lane. But it
Yeah.
might still be doable with like King RD microing his boar around or something. So we'll see. There's definitely some options there. Overall, I'm really curious to see how Mandy plays this SF. I think it's one of his better heroes. If I remember back from like casting some of their games a long time ago, I was always really impressed with his performance on this because he's just that type of guy that likes to be able to build off a quick lead and then just dominate the game from there. Um, and if I remember right, I feel like didn't he have like a really standout match the other day? I can't remember which he was playing on, but regardless, it's going to be good to watch, and we'll see if this Chen lineup. Last time they had the IO, now they got the Chen, along with some big bad Mr. Monkey Man they stand on top of. That's one of the coolest sets.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean, the cosmetics in this game have come a long way, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And since we've completely done away with the whole glance value aspect, I think it's actually for the better because it gives the artists a lot more freedom to kind of just play around and then make sets that are just really cool,
Look at this
even
guy.
if they
Prepare
don't like
for battle.
fit the lore or whatever, you know?
Look at him. He's awesome looking.
You might wish
Oh,
to retract
and the
your
tips
last
already
vow.
started.
Creeping while you are sleeping.
Not sure what that one's about, but they're gonna swap lanes. It looks like so. Send that beast into a lane against the Timber.
Yeah, I think it's more about PL not wanting to lane against Beastmaster.
Okay.
The Beastmaster has really high base damage, great attack animation. Boars are still really annoying for melee heroes. And on top of that, you know,
Thanks.
this lane isn't that bad for PL. Like, he can doppelganger out of any slow that gets cast on him, and he'll be able to just walk it off. Doesn't have to worry about Lifestealer at all.
Lifestealer has the item already queued
30
up.
seconds
The
to
javelin ready to go. Do we have any quelling blades down here? Ramses does have one, but he's not cutting down the trees yet. A little surprised by that. Oh, all right, all right, all right. Getting the good damage in, and 444 just gonna drop as soon as they saw the tree come in. Just get the toss ready.
Yeah, the level 1 Whirling Death does an insane amount of damage when there's that many trees nearby.
Battle begins.
That's why I wasn't cutting the trees. It all makes sense.
Yeah. Each tree is like what, 12 extra damage at level 1? Yeah, it's 12.
It's pure too. Nice. That is sick. All right, well, 3 bounty runes going the way of EG. Off to a nice start. That does mean that 444 is going to have to take the walk on down, and they're trying to swap the lanes. Do EG realize that this is happening? Can they do anything about it?
Well, typically when you see a lane swap, the team that moves first without TPing wins. So like the fact that King RD has already like walked all the way top means that if RTZ does TP, then he'll also be able to mirror his movement and his TP bottom. And since I guess the tree didn't have to use his TP either, so yeah, they could just do a full lane audible right now on paiN, and they would still maintain the more or less the same matchups. The only person who would be stuck is the Rubik because he did have to TP top.
I guess the sort of caveat that you have to that is Fly in the game on this Chen can pull people back and forth as well.
Yeah.
Things get a little bit tough, so we'll see what they end up doing with it. Mid lane, laying out the silence, trying to contest for these last hits. Like there might have been a miss in there as well, but so far so good. Andy's able to get all these CS.
Yeah, once the SF starts getting souls, it becomes increasingly difficult for Puck. Your base armor is already naturally very low, and what ends up happening is, a lot of SF players now, they'll do what Mandy's doing, which is start with the level 1 raise. And then they'll just ferry out some mangoes, keep spamming raises for souls. Because if you get one wave without a creep being denied, you get level 2. So that's kind of the big thing about SF is you do want the raise and you want to be able to get the Necromastery stacks. But the problem is starting with Necromastery at level 1, your base damage is so bad that you can't really contest the waves. So Crit's going to be dying here at the pole camp.
Salve up from 444, HFN still sitting pretty. Still queuing up that first item Javelin. Kind of a interesting little start to this build. Wanting to get into that Maelstrom as quick as possible to be able to deal with the PL.
Well, it's also that he's laning against Timber, and traditionally, right-click spamming a Timber for low amounts of damage very quickly is really only going to just give him reactive stacks.
Yeah.
So it's two things. In mid lane, we're going to catch the SF. Abed's got the DD rune as well.
Nice.
It's a nice kill. And that's going to put Abed in a really, really nice spot, because it's going to take the SF a little bit of time to get back to lane. So that's going to let him deny some more creeps. And then obviously Salve back up. He's sent out his
crit. Yo, this is the dream. Are you kidding me? He's going to walk back in. Mandy in some trouble. Going to get tossed back in with the DD still working. And this is tragic. Mandy goes down twice.
His game's over. That's the super feels bad as the mid player. There is actually no worse feeling in the entire world as a mid than dying, and then TPing back and instantly dying again.
Oh, God.
Because now he's got to walk back. He even buys a smoke to get back to lane faster. Gives you a little bit of MS. But yeah, that's one of those things you got to be ready for when there's a 4 tiny in the game, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, he TP'd in front of his tower. He walked up right away. Like, his ward's on a high ground. It's not, like, towards the bottom. He does place his own ward now, though.
They're also going to lose one up top. And 3.5 minutes in, it is a 2,000 gold lead for EG. This is not good for paiN. I don't know what else to say, Andy.
Yeah, this mid lane was supposed to be something for them that was decent, Like, the SF gets souls, he starts winning the matchup, and he will recover. It's not like, when you say the game's over, you mean, like, your mid player is probably tilted.
Yeah.
That's normally what you mean, because you have this matchup where you're, like, doing well, you play the first 3 waves great, and then this tiny just ends your lead, and you just get, it's frustrating, right? But now he's going to be forced to jungle. Fortunately, SF is one of the better jungling heroes, and they should be able to hold the tower pretty easily. They're going to have Dunha walk mid on the Rubik to try to soak some EXP. So they're adapting, but yeah, right now EG are feeling good in all 3 of their lanes.
Well, the other lane
actually dead too.
Up here top, giving him the punches. Arteezy comes in to claim his prize, secure the kill, and maybe even take down the courier to boot. Fly, wasn't quite in range to get it. The slowdown from the boar kept it alive there. Yeah, man, this is looking rough. And I guess part of the reason that that's allowed to happen is because you have such a self-sufficient offlaner in this tree on this Timbersaw, who's going to be able to find another kill now.
Yeah, Crit's actually owning this game. He stun tossed the tree into the Timber.
Yeah.
And then he just dies. Fly is going to get killed here. Kill secure from the Rubik. Man, I really think they should have just let Manny get that. He did have a long range raise too. I mean, it's a little misplay, but when you're in a situation like this where EG's got a 3k lead at 5 minutes, those little misplays really add up, and this guy needs gold like badly.
Yeah, it's gotta happen. And now they're just thinking about running him again. Dude, that was like, and again, he can't feel comfortable anywhere. Like 3 heroes running him underneath his tower. And granted, they do stop the charge forward, but this is spooky. There's nowhere really that I think you feel super safe, just with all this movement that you're seeing. And we talked about this, how quickly you come online with this lineup from EG, and we're already seeing it.
Yeah, they're trying not to give paiN any breathing room. Like, if the SF gets ahead in this game, it is pretty scary. Like, if he gets the BKB, gets that Requiem off and stuff, it's going to be nice. They're going on the Rubik here. They'll commit the coil.
They're just coiling a level 3 Rubik.
Yeah, dude, why not?
Gunna is so sad. All he wants to do is just play his game. They get the D ward also up on the high ground there, taking away everything. I also say that I feel like Ramses and Timbersaw feels like a perfect match together. It's like, you know, he almost even looks like him a little bit, right?
I mean, I guess so. I thought his hair was like blue though or something, wasn't it?
He's gonna get there eventually. This is gonna be his next look, Ramses. Top lane, chasing forward for King RD. Needs to TP out, and there is no way to break it, but again, you feel pretty bad having to TP away as every single lane is being won right now by evil geniuses.
Dire's bottom tower has
Yeah, the lane swap really didn't even help. It just meant since the Rubik had to move around, bot lane HFN is going to be okay. He's getting bullied though by this Timber.
Chase
I'm
around.
kind of surprised.
It's easy. Doppelganger chases for Mandy. Crits here. Has Avalanche again. The coil, another round of it. They lose their SF. They're going to lose the Rubik. And if this keeps up, they are going to lose the game. There has not been a positive thing going on. 6,000 gold lead at 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost 1,000 GPM lead at 7 minutes in. That's troublesome. Let's say that.
Look at
Losing
the little cart there.
They're even gonna get the Royal Jelly, one of the coolest items as a mid player. Getting that extra regen.
Oh, nice. I'm curious who else they give that to. Crit's still just sitting here being a nuisance. Has the Blink Dagger queued up, but he's already done more than his job. 10-2. Right now, all of the top net worths inhabited by evil geniuses, with Crit just barely behind that Lifestealer right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, you can obviously play around Aurora, but your damage follow-up is basically just the SF at this point. I mean, he's the guy who does the most. Like, Tree is only level 5. He actually doesn't even have a single point into Leech Seed. They're like on full back foot mode, try to keep my towers alive. Oh god, please stop murdering us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Lifestealer doesn't have boots. He's just sitting there with the Javelin trying to get in the Maelstrom as quick as possible. Hope to halt the pressure that's coming through. They have Aurora available from King RD, and they are going to commit it now to get that kill onto Chen. And Fly will go down here, but so too will the tier 1 tower in the mid lane, because there's no way to stop Ramses right now. And Avalanche
he's
toss.
pretty much unkillable.
Got Dunas as well. They kill him off a bit, cleans him up. 1 by 1.
I don't know, I feel like the Lifestealer doesn't really solve their problems.
Nah.
That's why I was thinking along the lines of unconventional heroes, because sometimes that's just what you have to do. Like, when you get to this stage in the game, you know, your Beastmaster's dying under your own tier 2, and you don't feel like you can send a single hero to help.
Oh.
I mean, 4 is not 6 either, right? So, I mean, this Temper pick is definitely doing a huge amount of work. You know, props to EG for the really good drafts in game 1 and 2, and just the way they're playing it. Like, they seem to have found their form from yesterday. We saw some shakiness from them in general, but this time around, they seem to be doing a much better job.
Oh no, another courier kill. Dude, Timbersaw has killed 2 couriers at like 10 minutes into the game. What the hell? Oh, they might be able to get these outposts, though. Nona gets 1. That is a big win, even though he is going to die for it. Well, is he? Ramses? Yeah, they got him. Okay.
is under attack. Radiant's bottom
They get
tower
that
is
kill.
under attack.
8,000 gold lead. It continues to rise. But as you said, maybe some little signs of life. That was also the Maelstrom for the Lifestealer that got killed off with that courier. So they're going to try and find Abed there. Can't get in range to the roar. This is going from bad to worse to terrible.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the plays they can make. Like, the Shadow Fiend just has to be there when the roar goes off. There's no other way. They need every single bit of damage, you know, to get a kill, unless they're roaring like the Chen.
Killed.
And even Fly has mech,
Dire's
you know.
top tower is under attack.
So this is another death. This time it's going to be HFN behind enemy lines there.
Timber Saw kills off the wave, and now they're ready to invade the jungle.
God, this PL has 11-minute defusal with double Wraith, Treads, and a full one. That is just bonkers.
Yeah, man, it ain't looking great. Johnson to everybody. paiN's like, all right, let's do it. Now's our time. Kill Arteezy.
Is under attack.
We have one job. We are going to try and take this PL out of the game.
Are scanning.
And the
Oh, they're
scan-
scamming.
They know what's happening. All right. TZ stays away from the creep camp. paiN are like, there's no way he came this way.
Dire's bottom
They're going
tower
to just
is
farm
under
it up
attack.
instead now. So at least with this smoke, they're going to be able to try and maintain maybe a little bit better control over their jungle.
Dire's bottom tower has
I
fallen.
mean, I guess, you know, like having the map to play is always a good thing. Like Dota is and has always been about control and pressure. So if you relieve a little bit of that pressure and you're able to get some farm efficiency time, you know, maybe your Lifestealer will be able to get to a point where it feels strong enough to walk in. Same with the Shadow Fiend. But man, Shadow Fiend's only level 8. That is so low level for a Shadow Fiend at 12 minutes. Like, that's actually
Dire's
crazy
middle
low
tower
level.
is under attack.
They steal back the Mud Golem. Flies like, that's my creep. Since Rubik was able to take over the Holy Persuasion. Ramses building up stacks of reactive while tanking the tower away. Just going to keep beating into it. Needs to wait for the catapult to come back. As Tiny, Lifestealer, getting a little bit fresh and fanciful with him, but runs away with the creep, and now back over to the other side. They did find Fly, so they're going to be able to kill off that Chen. A nice win for paiN there. Trying to get on the board.
Careful here, Ramses.
Bringing on everybody. Want to take him down. Ramses, does he have a way out of there? He doesn't quite hit the chain. Does have another one in a second. Connects their boat. No, able to find the stun, the interrupt. Trying to turn this back onto HFN. They were not able to get away with the Timber, so throwing away a little bit of a lead there.
Yeah, it's really easy to get complacent when you're playing Timber. You're like, man, my game is so free, I can't die. Oh, wait. And then, you know, 5 heroes are hitting you, and then you do end up dying. Fortunately, his PL is still farming like an absolute monster, and they have just an enormous lead core-wise as a whole on EG. So it's like that death, you know, normally those deaths are really bad, as we're going to see another coil here on the poor little Rubik. He is dead. Yeah, normally those deaths are considered pretty bad, and I'm not saying like it was okay for him to die like that, but because of how big of a lead they have,
You don't know if it matters.
I don't know if it really means that much.
Yeah, I'm with you. The move now into the Roche pit. Arteezy has the Fusel Blade done. Also the Ocean Heart hanging out there with all of the auras in the world. And paiN Gaming moving in, wanting to possibly take this fight, it looks like. They're sending in their bird. They have all the vision in the world. They see that this is happening. Can they stop it, though? That is the question. Dual Scepter picked up for the SF. King RD moving in. They get the silence onto all of them. The coil now onto 3. Ramses is just going to start tearing them apart. Oh, it's going to be so much damage as they chase forward, looking for more. Able to steal away the Timber Chain. That might keep the Rubik alive, but... well, doesn't look like it's actually going to happen. As the Chakram goes through, they find the kill. 4 dead from paiN, and, well, now EG are just going to waltz back in and take Roche if they want.
Yeah, I don't know if you really...
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't know what you do if you're paiN. Like, you just... you don't really have the damage right now. And, like, we saw what happened when they try to walk in, you know? They
Yeah.
just get coiled. The Tiny can follow up with his Blink Dagger and the stun toss combo. Ramses is, if he has his team behind him, he's pretty much unkillable. If he does get the 1v4 or the 1v5 thing like we saw mid, he can die, but not if he has a supporting cast.
Well, it's interesting because I felt like paiN played so much better yesterday than they did today, as far as what we're seeing from them so far. And I think that maybe some of that could also be, in a way, like North America and South America, kind of an intra-regional matchup when they play against each other. I'm wondering if they've scrimmed a lot and just paiN don't have a good answer for EG as a team. Because so far it's looking like they really don't have any answers at all, as PL is just going to chase him down, kill him off in front of all of his teammate. And, well, is EG finally going a bit too far? They still have the Aegis on the PL, so probably not, as 3 die across the map. Shadow Fiend's already gone. HFN also going to fall as they chase forward with Ramses and with Crit. Toss him on top of my don't ya. That is a dead lifestealer. Ugh.
I feel like both games, they kind of pick these later picks, like the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer in particular, this game to me felt kind of weird. Because even if it can lane against the Timber is that type of hero where if someone's just existing in your lane, you don't really care. You're not being pressured by that guy's presence. You need something that's going to really force the Timber to feel uncomfortable, or at least give you some kind of kill condition on the hero. And Lifestealer really doesn't do that. I mean, Monkey King was the only hero I can even think of besides Razor, who would have been able to just walk in and stop him from having a free time.
Right.
But they because of when it was picked and what it was picked against, I feel like it's really hard for that hero to succeed. It's kind of similar to the Liquid series we saw last time.
Yeah.
It's just that the later picks just don't fix the lineup problems, and then they persist throughout the game, and this is the result. I mean, this one is a little bit of a, let's say it's an extreme case.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Jesus. It's completely fallen apart. This game is off the rails. This game is over. It's 15,000 net worth lead at 17 minutes there. Breaking high ground, going to take at least one set of racks, if not more. And I mean, at this stage, if you're Mandy, you can only just jungle. That's all he's got in the tank right now. Has a Yule's Scepter and a Pupil's Gift. His Pupil's Gift is the best item he's got in his inventory.
He's got an Aquila now, and that might put him, net worth wise over the Tiny of the enemy team.
And that's GG. They're done.
Yeah, it is called. That's fine, honestly. Sometimes you just get owned, and they say you learn a lot from your losses, and if this loss is anything, they should learn a lot from this one because they got destroyed both games.
Rough stuff indeed for paiN Gaming after a really promising start to day number 1. Day number 2 not looking great. We'll see if it's just an odd number day, and that's what they need to do. They only play on odd number days. Andy, we have one more series that's going to be coming up right after this, and that's going to be EG versus Liquid. What are you looking forward to in that one? Is there anything that stands out, like players you want to watch, or specific heroes that you think are going to be really important, or I don't know, maybe just what you want to eat for breakfast? What's on your mind?
Well, I am hungry. Bacon and eggs always sounds good. But no, the next series coming up should, hopefully be closer than the last two that we've seen today. I think heroes obviously to look out for are going to be the Slark IO. Both teams, EG and Liquid, both would like to play those. Let's see. I mean, that's kind of it. I'm just curious to see if the puck is going to go through again from Liquid, because we saw in the past they don't really prioritize the hero that much. Then they got, crushed more or less by it. So we'll see. We'll see if they've changed their views on that hero. We'll see if the Slark IO makes it through. It should be a fun series, though.
All right. Stay tuned, everybody. We will be back right after the break to take a look at EG facing off against Liquid. Stay tuned. It's coming up in just a few.